Hi, I'm Karl Taylor from visualeducation.com. I'm super excited because today we're going to show you the new face detection focusing from the Hasselblad X2D.
Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Use coupon code KARL to get a 10% discount.
So today Hasselblad have released firmware version 3.1.0, which is available from their website. You can download it and then load it into the X2D camera. That brings, among other things, this new face detection, which I've been waiting for a long time because it'll be a huge bonus to my work on fashion and beauty shots, having that face detection. Previously, you had to select the focus point on the screen or manually slide it around and then it would focus. This will speed up that workflow much better. Now, as well as the new firmware update, they are also now shipping the new 90mm XCD V lens, which I'm super excited about. I should be getting one of those soon, and when I do, I'll put it through the full test, compare it to some of the other lenses, and give you a full review on that. Now, here is Amber, our wonderful customer support assistant, but she also is my assistant on photo shoots. You may have seen her on some of our live shows. She's kindly volunteered to be my subject for the face detection tracking and see how it works and see how accurate it is. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get Amber to move around while I play with the focusing for face detection, take pictures as she moves into each position and see how accurate it is on the eyes and face and see how well it's working. We're also going to probably bring in another person because one of the interesting things with the face detection is it can handle more than several people in there. You just have to then quickly swipe or select which person you want it to track. So we'll have a little play around and take a look at the results. Okay, so the first thing we need to consider is actually how do you set it up. So if we go into the menu, and the traditional position of where autofocus and manual focus still remain. So obviously we're going to be in autofocus, but alongside it now, you can see that tab, and that one gives us the option for face detection. And in here, we can choose auto, manual, or no detection. Now, if you choose manual face detection, then it means you have to click on the face to start that face detection process working so that it knows which face that you want it to go for, or if you wanted it to go for a face at all. If we go into auto, then it will do its best to obviously decide which face is the one that it's going to use. And Amber, if you walk towards me, please, you can see that it is tracking Amber. Move to the left a little bit and then back to the right. And you can see that it is staying locked onto that face with that face detection. Now, unlike maybe a more advanced system on the Sonys where it's got very specific eye tracking and it follow focuses, this doesn't continually focus update as the subject moves. I'm hoping in the future this may be another update that Hasselblad will bring via a future firmware, but at the moment, to activate the focus, you have to half press the shutter. So if Amber moves backwards now, and then she stops there, I'd half press the shutter to get that focus to activate, and move forwards again, down over this way a little bit as well. As you can see, it's tracking, and then I have to half press, and then it locks on the focus. So whilst it tracks her movement, it's not follow focusing with her movement at the same time, but that's not necessarily a problem, of course, because you've still got to press the shutter to take the photograph anyway. And this just gives me a much faster way of working. You'll remember previously from some of our beauty and fashion shoots where I'm working with models on makeup or clothes, that sort of stuff, that I was having to slide the focus point around on the screen to get it on the eye of the model, or I was having to manually focus and using the focused assist. And that obviously is a slower process of working. I'm really excited about this because now the camera will be tracking that movement of the face and I just need to press the shutter button partially as I take the photograph to get that focus. That means I don't have to bother with sliding my finger around on the screen or moving the scroll wheels to change that focus position. So a big, big plus there. So let's dive in and let's see what the results are. Let's take some photographs. I'm going to do them first of all fixed on the tripod, just to make sure there's no body movement from me. And then we'll take a series of pictures and we'll examine them afterwards to see how accurate that focusing was. Then I'll go and do some handheld, because then I'll have to be looking through the viewfinder and seeing what it looks like in there. So just go back to the center, please, Amber. Stop there. I'm going to take the first shot. That was 4713. Move forwards towards me and stop. Take that next shot. Move that way, stop, and refocus, shoot, go right over that side, you see it's following, and stop, and refocus and shoot, walk towards me, keep coming, and a bit more, and stop, and refocus and shoot, go backwards rapidly, keep going, and stop, and shoot. So, you can see it tracked. We'll look at those results shortly to see how accurate it was. And you can see, obviously I'm shooting at f2.8 here, so that's a very shallow depth of field on a medium format camera. That's looking more like something like f1.8 on a 35mm camera. So I'm deliberately using the shallow depth of field to really check that focus precisely. So, let's see now what happens when we bring an extra person into the mix and what that does on the focusing system. Okay, so let's get Emma in. Emma, could you go and stand just alongside Amber, please? That's it, just slightly behind her. So what you can see now on the system here is we've got another square appeared on Emma's face as well. And now the camera still thinks that I want Amber as the subject, but if I decide I want to switch the selection of the focus to Emma, I can just slide my finger across and now it's gone to Emma's focus, and we'll take one there to check it's working. Amber, move forwards. Now that one is still tracking, as you can see, but you can see the main square with the four corners is still on Emma. So if I take the shot, it's still going to be locked on Emma. So if I swipe across here, it moves now to Amber, press the half button, and it refocuses. And move backwards, Amber, behind Emma, keep going, keep going, keep going. You can see it's staying locked on Amber. I refocus on Amber and take that shot. I now swipe to the right and now it's on Emma, and Emma should be sharp in this shot. Now, if you two guys, both of you just do a little bit of like musical chairs here, moving around together, there you go, and swap around like via each other. And you can see that focus tracking or face detection is working really, really well here. They're thinking I'm crazy here, like they're doing some strange stuff. Amber, go that way. So just do keep swapping over. There you go. And it's working really, really nicely. You can see that even with them swapping over from each other, that face detection is locked on to both of them, and stop there. So now it's locked on Emma, take the shot. I swipe now to go to Amber, press the button and take the shot, and it would have re-switched those focus positions. Now this will work with even more people. So let's get one more person in. Right, so we'll get Joseph, our in-studio designer person in here. Come here, Joseph. So now we're going to have a third person in there, and we're going to see how well it tracks. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to all move around. I'm going to just check on screen. I don't know. Go in that way a bit, Joseph. Yeah, I don't know how many people it can track simultaneously. I did have a look when I focused on my website screen, and I think it tracked like 6 or 7 faces at the same time. But you can see now with 3 people. So do that, start moving around and crossing over each other again, back in, stay in the shot there, keep coming in. So you can see there it's working perfectly well on all 3 people. And keep going, Amber, move that way a bit as well. Yep, and it's staying locked on. And you can see it's locked on Amber, so I'm going to stop, take the shot there. I'm going to swipe to Joseph, and it's refocusing there. Take the shot, I'm going to swipe across to Emma, take the shot, and we'll see those results there. Okay, you two guys, thanks very much. Amber can stay there for a moment. So it seems to have worked really, really well, and it's interesting. So there you are, if you're photographing group shots, weddings potentially, that sort of thing, where you've got more than one person, you've got that ability of that face detection, being aware of multiple faces, which I think is really, really great. Okay, for my next test, I'm going to move to handheld. I wish I had my 90mm lens for this. We could actually switch to one of the older lenses because, interestingly, the face detection also works with the older lenses. Just the focusing system itself is not as fast on the older lenses as it is on these new lenses. So you're going to get better focusing performance with these new lenses. And I'm really excited, you know, when we get the new 90mm, because that's my sort of lens of choice for portrait beauty sort of work. So what we're going to do now is move handheld and see how well that works for me looking through the viewfinder. So if you can come forwards towards me, please, Amber. Keep coming and stop round about there. I don't know what the closest focusing distance on this lens is, but I'm going to take the shot. Move slightly towards me, just lean forwards a bit there. That's it, stop there. Let me refocus. Lean to your left. Yeah, stop. And to your right, stop. So what I'm doing here is just sort of simulating more of what would happen on a beauty shoot, where your subject is making sort of more smaller movements and you're basically shooting handheld, or often handheld, for this sort of thing. Right, what we're going to do now is also just take a look at, to see what happens with as the face turns. I want you to turn your face away from me slightly, a little bit more. Let's keep going. And now, there we go, and it's still locked on, and turn the other way, and stop, yeah, and again, now come forwards towards me, and stop, and there's good, turn your head away from me, and stop, yeah, and again, and stop, good, and right. So even with those head turning movements, it's still tracked, it's still locked, it's still got the lock screen, the lock green square came up. So I think we can take a look at those results. Actually, first, let's put one of the older lenses on for those of you that are using the older lenses, and let's see how well it works with that. Okay, so I'm going to take the XCD 55, the new 55 lens off there. This is the 120mm macro lens that I use quite a lot. And we'll see, obviously being one of the older lenses, let's see whether the face detection is working with that as well. Okay, come this way a little bit, right, stop there. Now obviously this lens focuses very close. So let's see if the face detection comes in on this. Focus, move slightly please, Amber. That's it, it's followed her there. And again, move slightly towards me, stop. And it's redone there. I'll just take again, move slightly that way and stop. Just turn your head slightly, stop. So, seems to be tracking perfectly well and working really well even with one of the older series lenses. Let's take a look at the results and see what we got. Okay, so I've got the images that we captured, moved them from the camera to my hard drive on my laptop via the USB-C cable and brought them into focus. Let's take a look and see whether they are actually in focus and sharp. So first one, pin sharp there on that first shot. That's zoomed in at 100%. Next shot where she's moved forwards, pin sharp again, so no problem there. We could even go into 200% here, which is obviously beyond, but as you can see, pin sharp on the eye. So very happy with that so far. Amber could have maybe smiled a little bit more a couple of the shots. Let's go back out again. So she moves, her eyes are slightly shut on that one, but it has still worked. Pin sharp on the eyes, pin sharp on that one, and on the next one I'm still zoomed in at 100% here on that. And the next shot, a little bit of a smile from Amber there, that's sharp. That's also sharp at 100%. Over to the side here. That one's slightly out there, so possibly amber moved after I'd half pressed the shutter, or maybe it just didn't quite latch on. Remember though, even with like some of the best systems from Sony, even on continuous shooting with the follow focus, it doesn't always get every single one sharp. So I'm very pleased with the success rate that we're seeing here. And you saw obviously the broad difference. That's at 100%. I've got most of her head chopped off in that shot there. I'll go into 200%. You can see how pin sharp that is as well on that one. But you know, we did a broad range of moving positions. She's pin sharp there as well. Right, and then we bring Emma into the shot. So you can see this time Amber's out of focus and Emma's pin sharp. And then the same here, Emma's pin sharp, Amber's out of focus because we were selected on Emma. Then we selected to Amber on that one, and you can see that Emma is out of focus, and at 100% Amber is pin sharp. Same again here. I think we switched. No, yeah, we stayed on Amber on that one. Emma's not sharp on there. And this one, Emma is sharp, and Amber's not, because we switched to Emma. Then same again, Emma's sharp, and then Amber's sharp, where we switched it across. And then we brought in a third person as well. And that one, Amber is Emma's pin sharp. So the focus must have been on her. Emma or Joseph are in the same line there anyway, so they're both sharp. So that all looked like it's working okay. These are the ones where I went handheld. That one is also sharp. And she came in closer on the handheld. That one is pin sharp at 100% there on that shot. She leaned over a little bit slightly. Now that one's slightly soft on there at 100% where she leaned over. So that could be either post-pressing lean. So once you've selected that focus point, maybe there was a bit of extra movement that happened that caused it not to be sharp. That following one is pin sharp. That one is pin sharp as well. So, you know, by and large here, we've got a very good success rate on these shots. That one's sharp on the back eye only there, which is interesting. But remember, I was shooting fully open on the aperture here. So we've got a very shallow depth of field. That one's a tiny, tiny bit off there. That one at 100% is absolutely pin sharp as well. But yeah, like I said, remember, look how out of focus our background is. So you can see we were working with a very, very shallow depth of field here, fully open at f2.2, I think it was. And yet we've got really good results on nearly every shot on the eyes, which is fantastic. That really makes my workflow a lot easier for when it comes to shooting beauty and fashion images. And you know, hopefully as Hasselblad continue with development on this, we may even see a follow focus in the future. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But this is a big plus for the X2D system already. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, click subscribe, give us a like, and thanks very much for watching.
This video is brought to you by Squarespace. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your business. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Karl to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.